I think now it's kind of time to turn our attention to you, Cherlynn.
Hi.
For a little segment we are calling Open Sourced, because we have to name things. We need a catchy name. We need, these little bits. So this is where we're going to talk a little bit about what goes into the stories that we publish. The story behind the story, if we want to be trite about it.
So meta.
I will avoid using that phrase
Don't
in
ever say
future
that again.
episodes because it hurts me on the inside. But you were, it did not go up yet at the time that we're recording this. This is Thursday morning.
I just turned it in, yeah.
Yeah, so we still have to edit it and all of that stuff. All the fun things that go in behind the scenes, the formatting, the editing. But you checked out this service called Grover.
I did.
So tell us a little bit about that. Like, what is it? And tell us your thoughts.
So Grover is basically like a rental service for all the devices you can think about. For example, this MacBook over here is something that I took out to test the service with, and I have it for a month. The rental price for it is like $109 for the month, but then the street or the retail price is at least $800, $900. So that's a good deal to me because first of all, Grover sponsored the 1 month trial so that we could test it out. So I didn't have to spend money to have this, but I'm probably going to keep renting this little thing because it's cool. And there's a lot of devices you can rent. You can try a fitness tracker, the Apple Watch, or a smartphone, or even drones and camera stuff. So I think it's a really nice idea that has existed before. There's Rent-A-Centers around, and there's Lumoid, another service, but Lumoid doesn't have the extensive library that Grover does, and Rent-A-Centers are just money sucks, so don't do it. 30% of what you pay for each month's rental through Grover goes towards your eventual purchase of the device if you choose to, so that's pretty neat. And Siri is just listening in on everything.
So one of the things that I think people probably, maybe they do realize, but maybe don't realize, is that we get an inordinate amount of pitches from PR people, from companies and stuff. Our inboxes are just slammed. And I'm pretty sure you said that Grover was not one of those things that immediately jumped out to you.
No. I looked at it, I was like, I've heard of this before. Skip. Every day you have to make decisions like this. So I'm just like, nah, I'm not going to pay attention to it. But the PR person was obviously persistent and was like, hey, I really think you would be interested. And I was like, okay, I'll float it by Dana and Terrence because that's what I do. I'm responsible. So Dana was like, hey, this is actually kind of cool. This is like Rent the Runway. She came over to my desk. She was like, this is like Rent the Runway for gadgets.
And we should clarify, we're talking about managing editor Dana Wollman.
Dana Wollman, yes. And she was like, this is for people like Velasco, who will just throw all their money at all the gadgets and buy stuff nonstop. But this is a more budget-friendly way of doing it. So she's like, let's try it out.
Budget friendly up to a point, though, so you got to be careful. So, actually, when you tried it, how did you narrow down? I looked at the site quickly today and just saw they've got consoles, they've got cameras, tablets. They've got a lot of stuff there.
Yeah.
How did you manage to narrow it down? These are the things I actually want to spend some money on and try.
Yeah, a huge part of the story that I wrote was about how difficult it was eventually to narrow it down. Because I was like, okay, first of all, let's go hit the categories I know I was going to want something from. So I went to cameras because I'm working on a production on the side. I need camera equipment. And then I was like, you know what? I've been thinking about this MacBook and getting it for a while to get a feel for it. So this is a good way to try it out. And then I just went nuts. I just went in freaking looked at NetAtmos, weather station. I was like, I don't have a yard, but I'll try it. I was like, this key tracker thing is only $3 a month. I will get it. But then, a key tracker could you can buy one for $20.
Yes.
So that did not make sense. So I eventually had to, and the worst thing was they were like, you can check out basically whatever you want. And I was like, I'll get everything. Yeah. Thank you.
Just add everything to your cart and then call it down from there.
$1,000 worth of things. But I was like, nah, I gotta narrow it down to 4. So I was like, MacBook, camera. I got a pair of Parazeek headphones, and that's because I just needed one. And then I got a Ring flash. So it was very practical, I think.
Yeah.
Cool. This sounds like a recipe for disaster, though. So, what are the restrictions for this whole thing? Especially fitness trackers, right? I don't.
Yeah,
want
it
to rent a
sounds.
fitness tracker.
Oh, yeah. I don't want somebody
that
else's
sweat.
Right.
Ugh.
So I was surprised when the stuff came to me that it was so pristine. It came in like a brand new condition.
Oh, sure.
But sure, like you said, because first of all, as reviewers, I'm always like suspicious. They're like, you gave me a special experience. You gave me this nicer version of it. But it's also because Grover's only in its first month in the US. So all their inventory is still new. So if you want like a new non-gross fitness tracker, do it like now.
Right.
And then afterwards, like...
Sorry, everybody else.
But they do like refurbish everything, they say, and they repackage and wipe all the devices clean. One of the things I was weirded out the most about was that I'm not going to use any credit card information on this MacBook, because if I give it back, who knows who's going to get it next, and like some kind of hacker guy is going to, or girl is going to be like, yeah, I'm going to go into your hard drive. Or porn.
So just to clarify, you're not using this computer for porn?
Not using it for porn.
Are you more concerned about them finding your porn or finding your credit card numbers?
I think you know what? Check out both. You know what?
It's okay.
My porn library is great, as is my credit card is empty, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But
they should have like a button, like once you send it back, like self-destruct. Like just
they should.
low level
so
wipe
I asked
everything.
I asked the CEO, and I was like, what kind of reset do you do? They're like, we just go through the factory reset options in the computer. I was like, I could do that myself.
No.
They were like, we're not doing any CIA level stuff.
You gotta do. I mean, they give the option to overwrite it 7 times on there, I think.
Really? Oh,
Yeah, on
so
Mac,
only 7 times?
Only
It's
7.
pretty good, I think.
That's not
But
bad.
if it changes
still.
hands like 10 times, then
And you can't trust them that they'll do it. I, as a consumer, I'd feel better if like I hit this button,
right.
this thing happens.
Well, you're
and then I
supposed to
send
do it before you send it to them.
Okay.
And then they'll do another check to make
Okay.
sure. But again, it's not
People
like the top
definitely will send
level.
it back without doing that.
There are people that will do that. But another thing that I was really concerned about was, so I talked about this to our colleagues, and Mona was like, I want to try an Apple Watch. And she very astutely went and looked at the terms and conditions. And
Who does that?
Mona, apparently.
And she was like, hey, so it says I'm liable for all the damage. And I was like, no, they told me that they'll pay for 50% of any
50%.
damage. So this was where it got really thorny for me. And I pointed it out to the PR people and Grover's CEO. And I was like, this is weird. You're making people enter a legally binding document that says that they're going to be responsible for the full amount of the damage, whereas you told me on our interview that you're going to cover 50% of it. And then in an email replied to my query saying, yeah, we're still going to waive 50% of it. And his reasoning for not putting it in the terms and conditions was that they didn't want to make it sound like they're providing insurance.
Yeah,
So-
that could be a problem too. But even then, like, going running with a device that you could end up
Paying for-
smashing.
Right.
I mean,
easily,
you can do phones, right? And people break
Yeah.
phones
Right.
constantly.
Yeah, I've never seen anybody outside of this office with like a fully functional, clean, unshattered phone.
Yeah.
Right.
And
So
even most of the people in this office have
Yeah.
shattered phones.
exactly.
At this point.
Mine is shattered. So anyway, I just that part was prickly for me, but of course, if you go into it and understanding that you're going to be liable for the damages, it's something just to be aware of. And know. Yeah.
Which, I mean, I guess makes sense.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be able to rent something and smash and be like, oh, sorry.
Sorry,
yeah.
50%.
That's not great either.
It's all your problem.
Just
Yeah.
break it in half.
I mean, so it sounds like in general, though, you were pretty happy with your
I was.
experience with it. But it is also a relatively new service. I'm sure not everything is super rosy. So I think this is a good opportunity for you to offer said startup some advice on how to improve their service. Just like straight talk to them. Just,
Hey, fix your terms and conditions. Fix your website. It needs to like work better, look better. I need all my information up top, not scrolling down to realize, oh, this is a flash. Like a picture is not enough at the top. But another thing that was really cool was that when I talked to the CEO, he mentioned that they're going to add unlimited pricing. So basically, you could pay, say, $100 a month, and you could check out any 3 gadgets you want.
That sounds a lot more compelling to me.
I really would do that. Like, if that were the case, I'd be like, yes, I will pay $100 a month every month for the rest of my life just to get any 3 gadgets all the time. I don't know.
For the rest of your life.
For the rest of my life, I would. And then, I mean, that $100, I don't know if 30% of that will go into the purchase of the device
Right,
eventually.
This isn't launched yet, right? They're
This
not
hasn't
doing this.
launched, but he said like around Christmas, they might have something like that available. So that to me, because the company keeps touting itself as we're like the Spotify of gadgets. I'm like, I don't get it.
I just completely lost.
Pro tip, better tagline.
I did
Yeah.
not get it. And I think Dana's idea of it rent the runway for gadgets makes a lot more sense.
Sure.
Yeah.
That
It's only in
seems-
New York City right now, though, right?
Yes, it's only in New York. It'll come to other cities soon, though. Hopefully.
So yeah, I guess be on the lookout for that. That piece should hopefully be up by the time the podcast goes.
Oh, yeah, it should be.